Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. We're down in Surrey near the family town, my dad's side, and we're here at Cyprus Baptist Church. This is kind of friends of the family. I actually got a recommendation from here with Elder Rob, but we're going to be walking through and did a on-site for them, which you already saw, but we're going to go through, and you know how we normally do. This is a talk through of everything that's being suggested to them. So let me turn you around here. So coming in, we got Ayana sitting here waiting, but they're going to be doing a lot of work in here. So they're going to be pulling up the carpet and putting some flooring down. So that's why they want to try and tie this together. The suggestion is to cut two of these pews in half and then have just a small portion here. But from here over up to the end of that window, actually build a platform for the media. And then move everything back here. We're going to put 3 cameras in here, replace that one that actually has a coax cable that's tying back into a fellowship hall. I need to see if that's RG6 or RG59. If it's 59, we got to replace it. If it's RG6, we just got to extend it and put a converter to feed the TV in the fellowship hall. But we're going to put a 20x PTZ right here, another 20x PTZ over there, another 20x here in the front to get a front view, and build out custom PC, ATEM, the typical stuff that we normally do would be in the back. Now, the other thing that they have is when they had a storm down here, they had a lot of damage down here. So this was rebuilt, and the sound system used to be here, but it's been relocated to back here. And they said this is kind of a problem if they want to make adjustments. So what we're going to do back here is keep all the channels, and we might need to do a bigger snake back here, but we're going to keep all the we're going to put a stage box back here. Now most likely going to go with a 32 channel stage box, so that way we can reconnect everything back here. The amps, the mics, all that will stay here, but the console we'll run a Ethercon cable up under the floor, get it all the way back, so that the sound mixer is going to be back here. Got one speaker here for the choir, floor wedges, and then the ones that we'll have to tweak because they said they're having issues with the sound. We'll do that. Now from here, looking at possibly putting an 85-inch TV on that back wall so everybody here in the pulpit and the choir can see. And then where the flags are, we're going to slide those away and put maybe 275s right there flush against the wall that will show everything. Custom PC that's going to run. Presenter, we're going to do an ATEM Mini Extreme. Maybe even go with the newer ATEM if that's available, but probably still stick with the ATEM Mini Extreme in that booth right there. Now, one other overflow that they do have, well, actually, before we do that, their internet is coming in right here. We're going to have to run some cables, probably going to do some CSAA ministry, drill down, run a cable, put a switch back there. For that, they're going to test out the speed to see if their upload speed is fast enough for that. What else? Back here, no other TVs except for in the fellowship hall, and that's where that cable goes back to right there. So depending on if that's a RG6, we'll just put a SDI to HDMI converter, and then that will get that done, and we don't have to run new cables. The goal, honestly, is probably to drill a hole in the floor right there, run all the cables up under here, and when they're doing the new floor, run a hole and get the cables up from here. And with the TV and the camera back here, probably get some white conduit to wrap around right where the framing is so it matches close to it, and it'll meet up here. The cameras up here this one camera will go up and meet all the cables here with the 2 TVs and the camera up here, and then all of them will be bundled together and then run back. Now, the thought, now that I think about it, I almost am thinking about doing 2 PoE switches, because then we can put a PoE switch here for this camera and the camera up here. That will be in the front, and then the camera in the back with the joystick, that will be plugged into here, so we don't have to worry about running all the cables back here. The only thing we're really going to run is we can put the HDMI splitter that's going to feed the TVs back here. So we can probably do a 1x4 or maybe still a 1x8 for future stuff. The TVs will go here. So the only thing we're really running is going to be the cable that's going to feed the splitter up here, the cable from the 2 cameras that are going back this way, and the Ethercon cable that's going to go from here to here. And then everything else we located here. So we want to make this look a little bit easier with how we're doing this. And they have a tight time frame on here. They want to look at possibly having this done by the first Sunday in August. So it is possible, but we just need to see. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to get back at home, but we're going to get back in front of the computer, design everything, write this up. And you know, if we get the contract, we're going to bring you down here and show. And you never know. I think Elder Rob might drop down here and actually do something. Did you want to say something? You're waving. Bye. I just said we're going to go home and I'm going to design this on the computer.
Buy from me.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna get there and design that. And like I said, probably get Elder Rob down here to help with that. And then some other people here in the area. Looks like this would be about 3 days worth of work. One day I want to dedicate just for all the cabling and stuff like that, just off the top of my head, where I think it might be for that. But and now I'm looking at it, we got this snake here. So there's already a path under here. So a lot of this stuff we're gonna redo and run that back there. But again, got a good idea of what's going to go. But anyway, let's get in front of the computer. Let's design this thing. And like I said, we get the contract, you know, I'm going to bring you along with me and to knock this out, do the install, do the training and all that other fun stuff. So let's get in front of the computer. All right, folks, we are back. And I don't know what it was, but that drive got me super tired. So let's go ahead and knock this out and get this done. I got another meeting after this, and then we're going to go crash out and go to sleep. All righty. So there's a bunch of things that I'm going to go all in and give them everything imaginable in this type of scenario. And let me change my resolution here so I can have some more space on here. All right. So let's start with the basics. We're going to do some television. These are going to be the ones in the front. And did it after we talked. They actually want to add another TV for Pastor Lucy in her office. So this is going to be the fellowship hall. And then we got another one that's in that same vicinity. That would be Pastor's TV. Then we have the sanctuary left. Sanctuary right. And then also the sanctuary back. All right. So we're going to do a custom AJ the CEO special, a presentation PC. We'll build that. That will be out in the back. And you know what? I need to master how I do this to make this look a lot easier instead of it being all over the place. I try to put this stuff relative to where they would be, but most of the time that makes it more difficult than it needs to be. So let's just try and do all our stuff here, but we're going to do our connections a little bit differently to save on how we're actually going to run cables everywhere. So this is our presentation PC. We got our cameras. Going to go with 3 PTZs. That a little bit smaller. So we got one in the front, the back, and the side. And like I said, I'm trying to put these closer together so it would actually make it easier for the design. All right, so that's front PTZ, side PTZ, and back PTZ. All right, we're going to use an ATEM Mini Extreme as the video switcher. Put that about right there. And while I'm doing this, let's not forget, we need a joystick to control the cameras. I'll put that over here, PTZ joystick. We're going to go with a X32 compact. Put a new board. We are going to go with, I'm looking at it, it's actually a 20 channel board. So we're going to have to go with the bigger Snake. So it's going to be a 32 channel. So a little bit more in price. So that's going to be the S32 stage box that will live in the back. And let's put that over there. Put this over here. And we kind of put all this stuff here. We're going to go with a SanDisk SSD that we hook up to the ATEM for our recording. And we're going to go with 2 PoE switches here. One is going to live in the front where the rack is, and we'll put another one in the back. So I don't need to do a big serious one. It's really just going to be for providing power to the PTZs in the front, the one that's closest, and then another one in the back with all the other equipment that's going to be in the new media area. I don't know. Let's put this over here for right now because the connection is on the back. I mean, on the front, on the left side, so near the side camera. So we're going to try and run these cables in a different way, and I'll realign this to show you kind of the path. That part is done. That part is done. What else are we missing? I think that's it. So we're going to have to do a couple of HDMI splitters. I'll probably still do a 1x8 for both of them just because of the cost. And it sets up in the future if we want to do some other ones here. And we're going to do some different stuff as well, too, because of how everything was working. So actually, let me take that back. The one in the back, we're probably going to just do a 1x2. Yeah, we'll do a 1x2 splitter in the back. And we may be able to get away with not doing as much in the front. Nah, you know, I'm just going to stick with the same thing. It just sets up in the future. All right. See, now I thought my organization was going to work, but it's not. So we got to do this a little bit different. Let's start connecting this stuff first. All right. So the pastor's TV is going to be a little bit different on how this works. And we may not, trying to think, we're going to put the HDMI splitter in the front with the stage box because that's going to be closest to the main TV. So I really should have moved all of this onto this side so that I don't have to run my lines very far. Let's put this over here. So this is connected over USB. So that'll be the first USB connection from the ATEM. The second one will be connected to the computer. So for Zoom, they do a conference call. So we'll put the conference call app on there. So it'll be higher quality audio coming to that. Our cameras are going to be connected over fiber optic HDMI, or we may do them as SDI. It all depends. Especially, I don't know how everything is up under in the crawl space. So you know what? I'm actually going to do that. Let's change this to the ATEM SDI Extreme. Let's do that instead. So our splitters are going to have to change since we're doing those. You know what? Nah. Let me go back and we'll consider that. Um, so potentially it may change to SDI. It all depends. We're gonna have a limited time on how to spin that around if the cables are there. I think worst case scenario, I might actually just instead of the price jump in this, I might actually go and do a PVC pipe under the crawl space and put all the cables in that. I think that might be the more economical way to do that. So we'll run all the cables, fiber optic, the front and the back will meet up and then go in the crawl space. The one in the back, we'll just put conduit around the back door, and that will get us over to there. That will come into here. We have the ones in the front. So this is the back PoE. Let's bring this over here. We'll bring not that. I want to move this whole thing over here. Let's move our sound closer to here. So the back PoE switch, that will give internet to our ATEM. So for this one's definitely got to be a gigabit PoE switch. This will also provide power to our PTZ joystick, and this will provide power and connectivity for the back PTZ. And we'll probably run a dedicated line because it is closer to this. So the modem is in the front. So I'll have that over here somewhere. So that will provide a connection to the front PoE switch. I will run another dedicated line to the back. So that will provide internet to both of them and make them on the same network. So this will be front PoE. And then this front PoE, we can do like a 1x4. Honestly, we don't need it to be over the top. That will provide power for our front and side PTZ camera. That gives both of them there. If we ever wanted to add access point, I would probably switch this out with a unified one, but they're good to go with that. We need another monitor. I forgot about our multi-view. This is going to be the video switchers multi-view so they can see everything. That will be HDMI number 1 out. HDMI number 2 out is going to go to the HDMI splitter that's going to be in the back. That is going to feed directly, and I got these in the wrong order. Not order as in placement here on the design, so I can have some more space. Let me slide this over here. All right, so we're going to feed this. And this one is actually going to live in the front with the S32 and the PoE switch in the front. So what we're going to do is this is going to directly feed the back TV over fiber optic HDMI. Because there's already a RG6 cable. Well, let's work this back. So we got that. The other line is going to be the one that's actually going to be in the PVC pipe that we're going to put in the crawl space. That is going to feed the HDMI splitter in the front, or we can just run them directly to the TVs. Let's actually do that. So this actually is not needed now that I think about it. So we'll run that to the left and right TVs in the sanctuary. All right. Now there's already a RG6 or RG59, some cable like that. I really hope it's RG6, because if it is, what we're going to do is do a HDMI to SDI converter. We will just run a feed into that converter, into the cable that's already there. Just extend the cable so it can reach where the splitter is. And we run that, use that cable that's already there. And see, this is where I'm running out of space. We'll have a cable here, and this is actually going to be a SDI to HDMI. Now, this is going to be, both of these are going to be powered. And the reason why we do that is if it stays powered, we can use this as a pass-through. So the existing cable is going to come up into using the cable that was already there. Let's get this out. See, it's not looking pretty like I want it to be. Excuse my mess. I don't like that it's like that, but this is what we got. And let's bring this to the front. Bring this to the front. So that's the existing cable. That's their CCTV cable. That's going to go here. That will now feed the fellowship hall and convert over to HDMI. The loop out from this will be the new line that we run to the second SDI to HDMI that is going to feed the pastor's TV. That way we don't have to run new cables. But if that is not an RG6 cable, we will have to run something else. So this is, hopefully this will work, and then we don't have to run new cables. All right. Back over here. And I really need to work on a way for this to look better. It's like the more I try and do it, the nastier this stuff looks. This is back under here, and I need to make a new color for this to make it easier. We're going to run a Ethercon cable. Put this over here. I'm going to run an Ethercon cable between the stage box and the new mixer. Loop this all around here. So let's use orange for that. That will be the bridge to connect all the existing connections that were at the front for the old mixer, the amp. It's no point in removing all that stuff. We just run the line that will be here. And then the back PoE will also be connected to the X32 so that it has a internet connection. So that way the tablet that we get then will be connected as well too. And I think that's it. Making sure I got everything. We got the TVs, we got cameras, we got new, we didn't connect sound here, so that we'll have a new dedicated audio going to the ATEM for its own separate mix. We'll also reconfigure it so that the choir, the pulpit, and the house will fix and balance their sound with all that. Right now, they were wondering if we're going to change speakers. I don't think we need to do that yet. I think the speakers that are on the floor for the church wedges, the pulpit wedges are way too big. That's personal. But if they work fine, there's no point in replacing if you don't need them. So that's what I got, with the potential of maybe having to run a new cable. But they said there's plenty of space, so we could run a new cable. And the main work is going to be getting the cables there. If we go into the crawl space, I'm not excited about crawling down there, but that would be the easier, more direct approach. And we don't have to worry about fishing cables in the walls and all this other stuff. The only cable that we really have to do once in the ceiling is going to be for the front camera, the side PTZ camera, and the two TVs. They all have to marry up somewhere, probably in the old media sound room, run that down into the crawl space, and then go everything from there. As well as the internet. But the internet is right there in the crawl space. I might just drill a hole there and drop the two cables there and just run them back up into the media, and then the other one directly into the booth that's going to be in the future. So I think that is about it from a straightforward standpoint. Fairly straightforward, honestly, in what's being done. The hardest work I think is going to be just running the cables in the crawl space or in the attic. Everything else is fairly straightforward. Um, and I got to pick out which PoE that I'm going to use because again, I could probably get both of them. This one's definitely going to have to be a gigabit one for the connections back here. And I didn't run a cable that goes to the computer for the internet. That's what I forgot to do. Think that should be pretty straightforward. All right, folks, real quick update. I ended up making some changes here. So this is future AJ after I was writing this up. And just based off of what was going on, I actually got rid of the fiber optic HDMI cables and everything was going to be SDI. So we're going to upgrade this to the ATEM SDI Extreme. And then that makes it so I don't have to have a distribution hub. We have 4 independent outputs, so we can send one for our multi-view, we can send one for the back wall, and then that other connection we're just going to split. That's going to go into the fellowship hall and the one that's going to go to the front. So with this, we can actually set the front screens to always be the presentation software, and the back wall could be something else if we decided to do that. And then we also have the outputs that are going for the fellowship hall and the pastor's office. So that's the only change. So all of the HDMI splitters, all that stuff is going away. And the fact I can do SDI for 300 feet. We just get some RG6, run that, and it'll be fine. So we added more converters, but that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to write all of this stuff up. Send them an estimate. And like I said, if we get the contract, I'm going to bring you along so you can see the steps of everything like that. And again, Elder Rob, thank you for the recommendation to them. And then, again, I know, why am I tripping on the name? Pastor Lucy, she actually did my aunt's eulogy, from down in that area, my aunt Eunice. And then the church that she was at was the church my dad and all my family on my dad's side grew up at, Gravel Hill. So we had did some stuff there. We've done some work with them. They're right around the corner from Runnymede, all of those churches in the area, including Elder Rob. Elder Rob recommended me. And then when they're like, oh yeah, we know of AJ. So again, very thankful about that. And I think that's about it. So if you ever needed some help and wanted me to do something like this for you, do an on-site, plan out some stuff with you, I actually have another one that's going to be later on this week with a church in New Jersey. So we're probably going to be going to New Jersey. So we're picking back up the pace on our installs. Still believing we can hit 50, but I mean, we're at the halfway mark of the year. So we'll see what we got. But anyway, we got that going. And if you needed some information, you can go to ajhomes.com/consultations. You can book that with me on site, a Zoom call, phone call, on site, all that fun stuff to help modernize your media ministry. Link is going to be down below to my blog where we do a deep dive on this and list all the stuff. I'll try and list all of the stuff as well on there, but most of the time I'm trying to do more with the blog so I can detail some more stuff because I can only put so many links and stuff like that in the description. But I'll have a link to that, and I think that's about it. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell, the way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ. Catch you on the next video. Later.